In this video, we'll create the alley and the two gutters for our bowling alley. As a continuation from the last movie, we'll be using the bowling alley max scene file that can be found in the working files folder for this chapter. Let's begin by taking our viewports to a 4-window layout. We'll do that with the Alt-W shortcut. Let's now activate the top view, taking it full screen. We'll then want to zoom out, rolling our mouse wheel back toward us. Now, give yourself some room. We're going to be making a tall, thin box. Back in the Command panel, under the Create tab, we'll click on the Box command. Let's now change our wireframe color to light pink. We can now draw a tall, skinny box in the viewport. Starting up in the upper left-hand side, I'll draw to the lower right. Once I've established my first two dimensions, I'll let go of the mouse, then simply push back a little ways and click. Okay, let's go to the Modify column so we can make some adjustments. First, we'll name the object Alley. Then, for its parameters, we'll give it a length of 2000, a width of 300, and for the height, we'll take that to -5. To move from one value field to the next, I'll simply use the down arrow on the keyboard. Once I have those numbers in place, I'll right-click on the screen, then hit Z. To center the object in the middle of our world space, I'll activate the Move command up on the toolbar, then right-click on the button. Using my Type in Transform dialog, on the left-hand side under Absolute World, I'll zero out all the numbers. I can do that by right-clicking on either the up or down spinner for each value. Let's now take the blue bowling pin positioned in the middle of the view up to the top-hand side of the alley. When I have it in the general area, I'll make 3 more copies. When the Clone Options dialog opens, I'll want to make sure that I'm using the copy way of making a clone. With those new pins in play, I'll spread them out over the width of the alley. Now, things don't need to be perfect, we're just getting them in the general vicinity of where they're going to go. For the gutters, let's do this. We'll go back to 4 views, then activate the front view full screen. Why don't we now, for better alignment, move up all 4 pins and the ball. Once I've done that, I'll take my viewport to wireframe, typing F3. If I need to make any further adjustments on the pins or the ball, I can do so now. Okay, to create the line for the gutter, let's go to the right-hand side of the alley. Because the gutter will need to be wide enough to fit the bowling ball, I'll move the bowling ball down to the lower right-hand side of the pink object. With that in place, I can now draw my arc that'll be used as a portion of my line. That'll be found back in the Create column under the Shapes. Now, there's 2 different creation methods to make the arc. You can use the end-in-middle, or you can change to the center end-end. For this example, I'll leave it at the default setting of end-in-middle. Now, I'll simply start on the left-hand side of the ball, holding my mouse down, dragging straight across to the right. When I make it to the other end, I'll let up on the mouse, then adjust the curvature on the arc. Once you have things in position, you can move the ball back up onto the alley. Now, in making my move, I've noticed that I never did name the bowling ball. With it still selected, let's scoot back to the Modify column, making that name change. Okay, let's go back and select the arc, and we'll change its wireframe color to a medium-colored purple. I'll now zoom in on that, converting it down to an editable spline. The conversion will be made by simply right-clicking, then from the menu, choosing Convert to Editable Spline. In Editable Spline mode, I can now select the line as a spline. In the stack, I'll open up the entry, dropping down to the spline level. Once I've done that, I'll go ahead and click again on the line. Being selected as a spline, I now have a modeling option called Outline. I'll find that going a little way down in the Modify controls. You'll see it on the left-hand side of the column directly above 2 light blue buttons. Let's go ahead and activate the command, then make an outline of our original arc. Now when you drag to double up on the line, let's take that extra outline to the outside. Once we've done that, we'll get out of the outline command, then go back up to the top of the stack. We can now, if needed, move our gutter better into position. I'll match it up with the edge of the alley. Okay, let's return to 4 viewports, then we'll add the extrude modifier. Wanting to match the length of our gutter to the length of our alley, we'll take the extrude amount to an even 2000. We can then, using either the top or the left-hand viewports, move it into place. To make my final adjustment, I'll activate the top view and zoom in close. Then, using the Y value below the timeline, I can make my subtle adjustment using its spinners. Once I've got that in position, I'll name the object Gutter Right. For right, I'll shorten that to RT. With the new name in place, I can now make a copy of the gutter in the front view, taking it to the left-hand side. When given the option to rename, I'll give this one the label Gutter LF. With that in place, I can now, if needed, reposition the gutter. As a final step before saving, I'll take my perspective view full screen, then orbit into a nice position. Let's now save the file up as Bowling Alley 01. Now to do that, I'll go to my Application button in the upper left-hand corner. I'll click on Save As. Then in the lower right-hand corner of the dialog, recognizing the current name of the file as Bowling Alley, I'll simply click on the plus sign directly to the left of the Save button. That'll save the file using the same name but adding a 2-digit number, in this case 01. Okay, that'll do it for the alley and the 2 gutters. In our next video, we'll make the floor and back wall.